Love this podcast? Support this show through the Acast supporter feature. It's up to you how much you give, and there's no regular commitment. Just hit the link in the show description to support now.
At Carvana, we're in the business of driving you happy. And with the widest selection of used cars under $20,000, you're bound to find a car that'll put a smile on your face. Carvana gives you control by letting you customize your down and monthly payments. You can browse tens of thousands of cars online to find one within your budget, and you won't get surprised with any bogus fees. Visit Carvana.com or download the app to shop for a vehicle. Carvana will drive you happy. Availability may vary by market.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the Cognitive Recalibration podcast. As always, I'm your host Shravan. We've got Tyrone here with us.
Hey everyone.
We just watched Morbius.
Yeah, just now.
Literally just now.
Finished about an hour ago. For some reason, it feels very, very late.
It is a bit late. It's later than we usually record, so it's sort of late in the night. But yeah, we decided to watch it. We are going to talk about it now.
I guess so.
Yeah. I guess you read the title of the episode, so that's why you're here. Let's get into it. So as usual, we'll do a bit of background on the movie. We can talk about Morbius, the comic book character. So I was introduced to Morbius, the character, in the Spider-Man animated series, and he's a little bit different in that series as well to what he's in the comics. So we'll talk about that briefly, and then we'll go through our thoughts on the movie, and we'll do some spoilers after that. So background on the movie, it's directed by Daniel Espinosa. Do you want to know what he's done in the past?
Sure.
So he did a movie called Safe House in 2012 starring Ryan Reynolds. Do you remember that one?
I haven't seen it, but I know what it is.
Okay, yeah.
I think it has Denzel Washington in it.
I think so, yeah. It's him and Denzel, right?
I think so.
And then he did the movie Life.
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds again.
The Ryan Reynolds one. Yeah. And then he's done this one. He's done some other movies before that, but I haven't really heard of them. There's a movie called Easy Money. It's a Swedish movie, so that's probably why we haven't heard of it.
Yep.
It's written by someone who wrote Gods of Egypt. Okay. And Power Rangers, the 2017 Power Rangers.
Yep.
And Dracula Untold. That was their first writing credit, the 2014's Dracula Untold. Produced by Avi Arad, our favourite person in the world. Starring Jared Leto, our second favourite person in the world. Matt Smith, Jared Harris, Tyrese, other people. Other things of note, I guess, it came out on April Fool's Day. Who's the joke on? Because it's on the audience.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's on us because we went to go watch it on a Monday night. Runtime is 104 minutes, so it's not a long movie, but it feels pretty long when you're watching it. Budget was 75 to 83 million. It doesn't look cheap, but it also doesn't look good. And box office wise, so far it's made 85 million in 3 days.
3 days.
Yeah, 3 days of being open. So Morbius, the comic book character, so Morbius the living vampire is his name in the comics. When do you think he first originated?
For some reason, I've read the comic that he first originated in.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Don't ask why, but I've read the whole thing.
For research for this movie?
No.
To see if it was accurate, comic book accurate?
I actually can't remember exactly when it's from, but I think it's like 60s, 70s, around there, yeah.
Yeah, it's 70s, so it's 1971.
It's not a good comic. Spider-Man has 4 hands in that comic.
Oh, is that the one? Oh, yeah. No, in the do they follow the same thing in the animated series? At one point, there's Spider-Man has 4 hands in the animated series as well. But yeah, I'm pretty sure he's like Russian or something.
No, he's what he is. What's he in this? He's Greek. He's Greek. Yeah.
Is he Greek in this?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I didn't realize. But he in the animated series, he has like an accent, like he's actually from where I thought it was Russia, but maybe he's from Greece. Yeah,
Pretty sure he's Greek.
his notable abilities in the comics are genius level intellect, trained biologist and biochemist, superhuman strength, speed, senses, and durability, flight, hypnotism, and accelerated healing. And he's a vampire, so does he have like vampire characteristics, like how, like they can't walk during the day and stuff like that?
No, because he's a biological vampire.
Okay, he's a living vampire.
Yes.
Yes. Well,
He's not an actual
he's
vampire.
not an actual vampire. Yeah.
Yeah.
What else do vampires like? Can't be around garlic and
They
stuff.
can't cross water.
Can't cross water.
Yeah.
Okay. In this, they like say that he's allergic. Like they can't have caffeine or something. Is that a thing?
I don't know. Garlic? I thought it was garlic.
Yeah, I thought it was garlic as
Yeah.
well.
Who do you think got introduced first, Blade or Morbius?
Blade.
Pretty sure it's Morbius.
Okay, well let's confirm that. Despite his initial status as one of Spider-Man's horror-based rogues and also an adversary of the vampire hunter Blade, so does that mean Blade was introduced before him?
Pretty sure Blade was after.
Okay, Blade. Blade was introduced in 1973, so just after. Not too much after, but after.
Isn't that weird?
Well, he's a Spider-Man villain, so
Yeah.
not a Blade villain. So I guess that sort of makes sense. In the animated series, they have a tie-in with Blade actually when Morbius is around because Blade's trying to kill Morbius, and Spider-Man knew Michael Morbius before he turned into a vampire. So they have a bit of a fight. Let's get into this movie. So positives. I'll start with the positives. You know the Marvel symbol, like the old Marvel symbol where they have the comics and it's like you see the pages? I still really like that one.
It's a good one.
The new one's good, like the MCU one, but I like the simplicity of just the comics, and it's like the origin of the Marvel comics. I thought that was really good. It was a good start to the movie. Kind of downhill from there. I found it intriguing how it starts with like a series of V's. Like, did you notice that? It was like colorful V's.
Yeah. Was that anything though?
Well,
I thought it was the top of an M, not a V.
yeah, well, it ends up being the top of an M, but I'm like, why are they showing V's? And then at the end of the movie, I figured it out because he's a vampire.
I don't think that's what they were going for. I think it was just the top of an M. I think you're reading into this.
I think that's all I had. Did you have any other positives?
It was mercifully short.
It didn't feel short.
It didn't feel short, but it was
There
short.
was multiple times that we were looking at our clock.
I looked at my phone multiple times hoping someone had messaged me so I could message them.
You wanted
I
conversation.
wanted something. I wanted something that wasn't the Morbius movie. But no one was giving me anything, unfortunately. Yeah, it was mercifully short, which was good. Jared Leto's not the worst in this. He's not.
Yeah, but like, did they need to get Jared Leto for this? Like, it doesn't do any. Like, anyone could have done this. It didn't have.
Oh,
to be
do you know what is good? Matt Smith looks like he's having a good time.
Yeah, there's a couple of scenes where, out of context, they're pretty funny.
Yeah, he looked like he had a good time.
He's in a lot of like pretty bad movies.
He's a good actor though. Yeah,
he's in good.
I think he's not bad at this either. Actually, he's probably the highlight of it.
Yeah, I was telling you before, like he's in like one shot in the trailer.
Yeah,
but he's like he's probably equal main character to Jared Leto. Like he's equal lead.
That's probably he was probably the highlight.
They wasted Jared Harris. He was barely in it.
Yeah,
and everyone else doesn't really get much play. Like Tyrus is not really in it.
There is the female.
Yeah, the female lead. She was.
I don't know who she is.
I think she's in like Narcos or something.
Okay.
Her name is Adria Arjona. You know how they have like J's a H? Like
yes.
Yeah. It's spelt with a J, but I'm pretty sure it's Arjona.
She's in this. Yeah. I feel like we're in a disco at the moment.
Yeah, the lights are turning on and off.
We're in. Yeah, it's an interesting environment. I like. It reminds me of a very specific scene in the movie, actually.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Actually, that scene was good.
Yes.
After the Marvel symbol, that was the best scene.
There's a scene where there's a light that flickers.
Yes, yeah.
I guess
So-
they tried to do a bit of horror in this, but it's
I think they should have gone, because it is about a guy who turns into a vampire. So they could have gone more into the horror side of things, but they kind of just, I don't know what it was in the end. It was kind of like an action. I mean, even the action wasn't that great, and it was just a bit of nothing. Yeah, we can get into negatives. I think we're already getting into negatives. But yeah, for a movie about a guy who turns into a vampire, it lacks a bit of bite.
that's not great. But sure.
I thought about that one.
Yeah, you made it sound like you just thought of it, but I know you've been thinking about that for like a month.
I'm like, when we do that Morbius review, I need to use this line.
Yep.
It also sucks.
Cool. Yeah. You thought about that one maybe a little bit later, but still, you definitely planned all these.
Yeah, it's just like a slow, like nothing really happens in the movie. And I feel like the more interesting parts would have been his origin, but they don't really, it is an origin movie, but they don't really show his origin. Like he goes to some cave, comes back with bats, and then he turns into a vampire. All the stuff they do show is not really that interesting. Like they try to tie it in towards the end. Like, so firstly, if you're going to this 4 times with Spider-Man, you're probably going to be a bit disappointed because in the main movie, there isn't anything that actually ties it to Spider-Man. Apart from, I mean, it's in New York, so maybe that, but there's a lot of movies in New York that aren't tied to Spider-Man. And there's like a Daily Bugle newspaper, so okay. But apart from that, there's not really any ties until the post-credit scenes. And the post-credit scenes are probably like if you thought the Venom Let There Be Carnage one was bad, I think this is even worse.
I just felt it was really out of place and just like, what's the point of this?
Yeah, it was just
like, it's not terrible. It's just like, what is this? Why? Yeah. Why is this a thing?
That was, at least it was kind of interesting. Like, this doesn't make sense, but like, okay. Whereas the rest of the movie was just boring.
The rest of the movie is boring. Yeah. The end credits were, I wouldn't even say it was interesting. It's just like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The music, I don't know if you noticed this, but the background score was a direct ripoff from Batman Begins.
Oh, yeah. At different points it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, not even like a similar thing. It was like the same thing. It was like the same music.
In the trailer, they actually had a good song that they used in the background.
Yeah.
That I liked. They didn't use it in this.
Yeah, it was just in the trailer.
Yeah.
The trailer was better than this movie, to be honest, because we've been watching that trailer for like a year because they played before every movie for like a year.
They should use that song as his background theme.
Yeah, it's not a bad song.
Yeah. Like the instrumental kind of music they put behind it as well.
Yeah, and there's even stuff in the trailer that's not in the movie. I mean, if you're looking for all the Spider-Man times with, it was in the trailer, so we could talk about it with Michael Keaton, not in the movie. And there's some other funny dialogues and stuff in the trailer that are also not in the movie. This movie also, I mean, it doesn't have to be funny, but at least if there were some jokes in it, might have been.
I think they tried to do jokes, but I don't know, Jared Leto's not a very funny man, I don't think. His eyes seem dead. Like there's something dead behind his eyes, which is good if you're a vampire, I guess. He suits the role.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think
he's like 50 years old.
He doesn't look it. He looks very good for his age.
Maybe he's a vampire.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I cast him.
Yeah. No, it looks very good for his age. He's keeping up well. No, there was a couple of funny parts. Like Matt Smith really tried his best, I think.
Yeah, there's a couple of scenes where he was decent, I guess.
Yeah. But overall, it's not that funny. Not that it had to be, but
it didn't have to be funny, but there just had to be something interesting in this. At least, even if there were some bad jokes, we could have had a.
I was kind of hoping it would have been worse, but it's not one of those movies that's like completely terrible, and you're like, it's not one of those movies that's like so bad it's like good.
Yeah.
It's just a movie that's just middling and boring.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
like it reminds me of like X-Men Dark Phoenix, that sort of level. Because even that was like, there was nothing good about it. It was just boring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I feel like they could have taken, if they took some bigger swings and missed,
yeah,
then it
at
would
least
have
we would
been.
have had a good time.
Yeah.
I think that's the difference between this and Venom, because Venom's bad as well, like both Venoms, but at least they do some crazy stuff with
I think
Venom.
they commit to it a bit more in Venom, but
Yeah.
this was more of a generic film that they just tried to do by the numbers.
Because at least Venom, there's like some funny scenes, and like Venom's a pretty crazy character, and there's, you know, he jumps in a lobster tank or whatever. There's stuff like that. So at least it had that. This doesn't have anything. There's nothing that makes it interesting.
Yeah, I almost think it would have been better if it was. I don't think they could have made it much better than this with what they were working with. But
Yeah, and
yeah,
so this was meant to come out in 2020. So the first trailer for this came out in 2019. So almost 3 years ago. Well, 3 years ago. They've had time to, you know, make this better. So I don't know if they just, you know, did a really bad job at trying to put together a good movie, or they had a really bad movie and this is what they ended up with. No, I think they could have. I think the character itself could have been interesting. There's some they could
probably
have done
disagree. I think it's character that's probably good to do in a Spider-Man movie, but not as a standalone feature without Spider-Man in it.
They could have done something that, you know, they could have gone down more like the vampire mythology and tried to like they kind of hint at it a little bit when they're like reading books about vampires, but they could have done something a little bit more like fantasy like going into like the vampire style stuff, rather than they kind of make it more scientific in this, which is his origin in the comics, but it just wasn't that interesting. Most of Spider-Man's villains are just failed science experiments, so he's the same one. He's the same thing. I was hoping that this was... We heard it was bad before going into it. I was hoping it was actually worse than what it was, because at least we would have had a good time, but it was just... Yeah, it was just nothing. And also, what's his disease? He's got like this debilitating disease since he was born. Like he can't walk, or he's like really weak or something, right? And Matt Smith has the same thing, but they don't really explain it.
No, yeah.
Yeah. And he spends his life trying to get the cure. Yeah. And then he gets some vampire bats and fuses his DNA.
Everything moves at a clip in this movie as well. Like things happen very quickly, but it's not interesting still somehow.
Yeah. And I
It's
wonder
both fast and very slow and boring.
at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder why they open the movie with something in the present day, and then they go to a flashback.
And then they skip past that part. Yeah.
And then they go back. It was just weirdly structured. Like, why would you do it in that order? Because it didn't really... The flashback itself was only like 5 minutes. So they could have just done it in order, and it might have... I mean, it wouldn't have made it any better, but at least it might have made it more coherent than what it was. Okay, so obviously this is a cognitive regression from us. We don't recommend it.
Yeah, I think, like you said, it could have been better if it was worse. I think that's the only way this could have been salvageable.
Yeah, I think it just had to be bad.
Yeah.
Like really bad. And then, yeah, we could have at least had a good time with it, but it was just, it was just nothing. In terms of the Sony Spider-Man movies, where does this rank? I think it's the worst one.
Yeah, possibly.
There are bad ones. There's like Amazing Spider-Man 2, which is really bad. But at least that's so bad that you can have a good time with it. And same with Spider-Man 3, and same with the Venom movies. This was probably the worst one.
They're somewhat memorable, those movies, but this, I'll immediately forget this.
Yeah, it's almost on par with like, you know, those like mid-2000s superhero movies, like before the MCU, and like excluding like Nolan's movies. It's kind of that level, like the Fantastic Four, Daredevil, those movies that came in between that, you know, they were just nothing. It's that level. We don't recommend it. So
No.
don't bother. Just wait till, I don't know.
Just don't ever watch it.
Yeah, just yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say wait till that Dumbledore movie, but maybe just don't wait for that either.
Yeah. Well, we haven't seen that yet, so yeah.
I mean, it could be good.
Yeah.
I don't think it will be, but it could be.
At Carvana, we're in the business of driving you happy. And with the widest selection of used cars under $20,000, you're bound to find a car that'll put a smile on your face. Carvana gives you control by letting you customize your down and monthly payments. You can browse tens of thousands of cars online to find one within your budget, and you won't get surprised with any bogus fees. Visit Carvana.com or download the app to shop for a vehicle. Carvana will drive you happy. Availability may vary by market.
Okay, let's jump into spoilers. So if you haven't seen Morbius and you care about spoilers, go watch it, or just listen to our spoilers. Our spoilers are going to be more interesting than the movie. Just keep listening. All right. So the movie, as I said, the movie starts with him going to Costa Rica. Is it? Mm-hmm. He goes into a cave. Well, actually, does he go into the cave? Because he has this little machine thing that.
No, he doesn't go into the cave. Yeah.
Yeah. So what does he do?
He just captures some bats.
Is that what that thing's for? That he's
I
got
think so. Yeah.
Okay, so he captures some bats. So he has to get bats, those specific bats.
Yeah. Yeah. Because they're vampire bats.
And they're only there?
I guess so.
Okay. Yeah, so he gets vampire bats, and then there's a small flashback with him and Matt Smith when they were young, and he calls him Milo, even though his name is something else.
Lucien,
yeah. They kind of established that he's a smart boy when he was a kid because he fixes some machine that's keeping Matt Smith alive. And for some reason, there were no nurses around. That's it, right? That's the flashback. And then they're like, we're gonna send you to a special school in New York, and that's it. And then they flash forward, and I thought they flash forward, like they'll come back, like they'll go through his journey, and then they'll come back to that scene where
he's bats, in
Costa Rica. But they don't. They actually just skip past that. So you see him again, and then you find out he's already got the bats, and he's already
got the bats. Yeah,
yeah.
He's doing some gene stuff.
So that's when you get introduced to this other character, this doctor that he works with, and she finds out that he's been experimenting on stuff, and surprised that no one actually, apart from her, no one actually found out about this because he's got like this.
He's not really hiding it, is he?
He's got this massive tank with bats in it. So I thought someone else would have seen that. And then you find out he's been experimenting, and the very first scene where you see him experimenting, it's successful, and then he does it on himself, and he turns into Morbius. Well, he is Morbius, that's his name, but he turns into
vampire.
And then he kills some people on a ship, which you see in the trailer. And then, what do you think of the action?
I don't like it.
It looked... I don't know. In the trailer, it actually looked like it might be all right, like the slow motion stuff. But in the movie,
I couldn't see anything, to be honest.
Yeah,
everything was like blurry.
Yeah, all the action was in the dark.
I could never tell what was happening.
There was slow motion, but generally when you do slow motion, you're meant to see what's happening. But in this case, you couldn't really tell what was happening, even in the slow motion. But yeah, that action sequence was, I guess it was all right. It's the first time he transforms into a vampire. He leaves the ship. So it kills everyone, and then he leaves the ship. How does he get to... Does he assume he just swims? Aren't they in the middle of the ocean somewhere?
Yeah. I'm guessing he just swims. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's got like superhuman strength now, so I guess he could probably do that. And he could also fly. But I don't know if he figured that out yet at that stage, but he can fly. What happens after that? And then Matt Smith finds out, right?
Yeah.
So his friend
and then
finds
Matt
out,
Smith becomes a vampire as well.
which happens off screen as well. So you don't know how. Firstly, he needed the doctor to help him inject the serum or whatever, right? Like he needed her help to do it.
So he just got someone else to do it.
So how did Matt Smith do it?
He's got someone else to inject it.
Who else was there too? That other lady that he kills?
Does he get it injected in the hospital? Or does he just go home and inject it?
Oh, so he takes the vials and then he...
I don't know. I think they don't show it, so I'm not sure.
Could be anything.
Yeah.
It could be anything, yeah. There was one good scene, which we alluded to earlier, where this lady's walking in a hall and there's lights flickering, and it was... I knew the jump scare was coming, but it was actually all right. I was like, it's not... They did it pretty well, that one scene. That was the only one scene where it could have been a horror movie.
Like very 2000s action where you can't see anything as well.
And then, like, nothing happens from that point onwards.
It's just he's evil and he's like Matt Smith's killing people.
Yeah.
The Morbius is like, nah, it's
like
bad.
You know how we always criticize MCU movies for, like, the villain is the same as the hero?
Yeah, it's
thing?
exactly that. Yeah.
It's exactly that, but it's like 10 times worse.
Yeah.
Because at least the hero is interesting in an MCU movie. The hero is uninteresting. In a way, the villain's sort of interesting, but he doesn't get much play, so it's just whatever. So Matt Smith embraces becoming a vampire, so he's just like
just killing people.
killing people everywhere, and Morbius doesn't want to, so he's.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they also.
Oh yeah, Tyrese is in this. He's a cop. Yeah,
So
he thinks Morbius is killing people, but it's Matt Smith. Yeah,
and that goes nowhere, right?
No. Well, this movie ends very, very abruptly. Like, I was like, okay, that's where it's finishing. I was happy it was over.
Yeah.
But I'm like, okay, that's where it's finishing. It was pleasant. It was a pleasant surprise. I'm like, oh, okay, thank God it's finished. But I'm like, oh, I thought it was going to, like, I thought there's at least another 5 minutes.
Yeah, I thought they'd wrap it up with something. They literally just, the climax fight happens and then it ends.
Yeah, he like... The climax fight happens in this, I don't even know what it is.
It's like
something
subway?
underground.
Is it where?
It's like a cave. I think it's the Bat Cave.
There's a lot of like Batman. Well, he gets his powers from bats, but like,
Yeah.
It looks like there's a lot of stuff that's similar to Batman's.
Yeah. But anyway, he beats Matt Smith in there.
Yeah.
And then like bats
doesn't he
fly him.
get some poison or something? Like
He poisons him. Yeah.
he poisons him. Yeah. But
And
didn't
then-
he say he was going to poison himself?
He did, but he didn't. I don't know why. I thought that was going to come back, but then the movie ends. So, and then he flies out of the tunnel.
Yeah.
And then his girlfriend, who you thought was dead, wakes up, and then it finishes.
In the whole movie, they bite a lot of people.
Yeah.
And they all die. Is that because they suck the blood, like completely suck the blood out of them?
Yeah.
Whereas
The girlfriend had some of his blood before she died.
okay,
She like bites his lip.
why?
I don't know. Kinky? I don't know.
It's not the time. She was just about to die.
She has some of his blood.
So that's why she... but doesn't he bite her as well?
Afterwards, he bites her.
So is that why she... Well,
She
turns
turned
into
because she had his blood.
She turns into a vampire, right?
Because she had his blood.
Anyway, that goes nowhere as well because you literally
Because
just
the movie ends, yeah.
Yeah, you just see her getting up and the movie ends.
Like I said, I was very happy, but I was also shocked.
And then we go on to the 2 end credit scenes.
Thankfully, the end credit scenes aren't at the end of the credits because I just want to leave.
Yeah. They come up pretty quickly, actually. So, yeah, like the first one is, both of them make sense, but this, I don't know that. So, Spider-Man No Way Home, the people that knew Peter from other universes went back to their universe, right?
Yeah, so it doesn't make sense. I don't think we should be trying to make sense of this.
Yes. So why did Michael Keaton, who's obviously from the Tom Holland MCU universe, get transported to this one?
It doesn't
And
make
he
sense.
gets transported to a cell as well. Like he's obviously
He was in jail. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess he got transported to jail again.
but in another universe.
Yeah. We can't make sense of it because it's nonsensical.
Now he's in this universe, and then they have this short news segment where they're like, "This guy turned up in a cell, but the cell was empty, and they're going to let him go now."
Yeah. Yeah. No one's like, why were you in this cell?
Yeah.
No one's like, it's like, oh, this guy's in a cell, but he wasn't in the cell, so let's just
let him
release
go.
him. Yeah.
For some reason, he's
And then how does he make his vulture suit? Well, this is the second end credit scene.
Yes.
How does he make his vulture suit exactly the same as the Homecoming one?
yeah.
He didn't even make that suit. The
Yeah,
Tinkerer made that suit.
Yeah, he didn't even make it.
And
he needs
they
all the-
used all the tech from
the
the
Chitauri.
Chitauri tech.
Yeah.
But he somehow makes the exact same suit. And then he meets Morbius in like Nevada desert or something.
Yeah. So again, so did they plan to meet each other? Is that what was happening?
If they're planning to meet like the conversation they had, they could have had that over the phone. Like they didn't need to meet each other in the desert to have that
Yeah, because
conversation.
it looks like he drove miles. Like if it is Nevada, that's a very, very long way from New York. So even further from New Zealand, like I was about to say. So it's pretty far. So
there was like nothing sus about the combo as well. It's like, yeah, we should work together. It's like, okay,
Why?
fine. Why?
Yeah, why? Like, and then he just name drops Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like, does Spider-Man exist? Like, Morbius was like, who the hell's Spider-Man? But he's like, yeah, what does he say? He's like, sounds interesting or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they establish him to be like a good person.
He's meant to be like a semi-hero. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't make sense. When I saw it, I'm just like, okay, whatever. It's over. It's over. Can I leave the cinema now, please?
At that stage, we just wanted it to end.
I'm hungry. I want to go.
Just let us go.
Well, I would be highly doubtful we ever see any of this ever again. So
It's probably not going to do that well, right? So
no,
Yeah.
no one's watching this.
So
There was
they'll
4 people in our cinema, including us.
Yes. Yeah. Well, we did go on a Monday night, but still, it's a new release, so you'd expect more than 4 people.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're probably just going to bin it. But what happens to Michael Keaton? Because I actually think, he's one of the best villains that we've had in the MCU.
It doesn't matter. No one's seen this movie, so no one.
They'll just forget about it.
Yeah, he's back in the MCU. It doesn't matter.
Well, they'll obviously tie it in with Venom or something, right?
I think he's meant to be in the Venom universe because he says I'm Venom at some point, or maybe
Yes.
he's just saying he's Venom because I don't know.
Do bats have Venom? I don't know. That also seemed out of context because
And like, is Venom widely known? If it was the Venom universe, do people just know that Venom is called Venom?
probably not.
Yeah,
Not many people have actually seen Venom, have they? Like in the
movie,
universe.
yeah.
In the movie as well. Although it made a ridiculous amount of money somehow, but like in the universe, I don't think and he's in New York and Venom's in like
San Francisco.
Yeah. They actually mentioned that at some stage. To like after, the guy who works with Tyrese, he's like, it's the craziest thing we've seen since San Fran.
Did they say that in this movie?
Yeah.
Wasn't paying attention. Probably by the points where I was looking at my phone. Pretty much whenever Tyrese and that guy came on screen, I'm like, fuck this. I'm not paying attention. These guys add nothing to this story. And for some reason, Tyrese is playing the straight bloke.
Yeah.
And they had a comedian next to him.
Yeah.
I'm like, why the hell are you making Tyrese play the straight bloke?
Yeah. At least use his talents. Like, I mean.
Well, it's not that talented anyway, but he does one thing.
Yeah, at least let him do that. Jared Leto, like I was saying before, they didn't need him for this movie.
He doesn't do anything in this movie. He's very flat-faced. Like, he doesn't,
Like, at least add a bit of character to him or something. It was just nothing. They could have
Maybe they were scared that he would method act if they gave him too much. And they're
Yeah.
like, we can't deal with this shit.
So they gave him.
Nothing. Can you just be yourself, please? for the amount of time we filmed this movie, can you just be whoever you normally are? At least it did start sucking people's blood during this movie or something.
I think that's all I had.
Overall, I'm disappointed. I want to trash it more, but it was just boring.
Yeah, I did want to trash it more, but there's just nothing there to trash. It's just whatever. Like it's got this echolocation stuff as well. It's
all right. It's kind of like Daredevil's, but he uses it once.
So does he need to use that to fly?
No, I think he's on the currents or some shit when he's flying.
I didn't
don't know.
get that either.
I didn't understand that at all. How did he not get hit by that train when he was flying? The train was already past him before he jumped. The train should have hit him.
Oh yeah, and did you notice? So that there's a shot I've seen this trailer a lot of times because we watched it before every single movie for the last year. But there's a shot in the trailer with Matt Smith, and he's just normal Matt Smith. But in the movie, he's vampire.
He's vampire Matt Smith. Yeah. Going back to that train scene though, how did he get out of that subway? He can't fly. Because later in the movie he doesn't fly.
He glides.
No, the bats raise him up later in the movie. But he gets punched off the building and he falls off. He doesn't fly.
But doesn't he, towards the end, doesn't he not fly, but
glides?
Glides between buildings and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he knew how to, you can't fly for that.
Well, nothing's explained in this movie except for that radar thing that he has. He's like, I can do radar.
Yeah.
He's talking to
and it's all exposition as well.
He's talking to his butt. Why is he recording this still?
Yeah.
Who's gonna? He records it like he's doing medical notes, and it's who's this for?
Yeah. Is he going to listen to it again at some stage? Yeah, it didn't make sense. Or someone else going to take up this?
Yeah.
I thought it was like a top secret thing that he was doing. So why is he recording it?
Yeah.
There's a lot of unexplained things. There wasn't even any funny parts. Like, I'm just trying to think of any. There was one part where Matt Smith's dancing, which was sort of funny.
That was all right.
Yeah. But apart from that, not much. Oh, and there's a part where he's standing on a bridge and...
He's watching Jared Leto kiss his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just...
That was creepy.
He doesn't even do anything about it. He's just like, oh, yeah.
Just watching. Yeah.
That's it.
Just enjoying it. Didn't like it.
Disappointment. Probably the worst movie we've seen so far this year.
Not the worst movie we've ever seen, though.
What's the worst one we've ever seen?
Space Jam.
I would watch Space Jam over this.
Yeah, because it's so trash. No, actually, I would have watched Space Jam again. The movie was terrible. I'm not watching that again. I'm not watching this again either. But
no, like if you were held at gunpoint and they're like, you're gonna.
Which one's shorter? Whichever one's shorter, I would watch that one.
I think this is probably shorter, so you'd watch this.
I think I would watch this.
At least, yeah. I mean, Space Jam is not great either, but it had some funny parts. I think the worst movie is probably The Nun.
It's pretty bad.
It's pretty bad.
Can't really remember that movie, to be honest. I do remember. Yeah, no, I don't remember that movie at all.
The worst best movie, like the one we trashed, was like great for trashing, was probably Crimes of Grindelwald, which is a segue into what's happening next week with Secrets.
Well,
of
we'll
Dumbledore.
see. Yeah, could be good, could be bad. Could be anything.
But there's like no hype for this movie. Like it's like it's a Harry Potter, related.
It has been swept under the rug a little bit.
No one's talking about it. It's just coming out, which makes me feel like it's probably not good because they're not really pumping the marketing that much. But we'll see. Maybe it's better. Could be better than the second one at least.
We'll find out next week. I think that'll be our next one. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll probably be our next one. And then, April's a pretty packed month, so we're trying to prioritize. We'll see which ones we do before Doctor Strange. So, yeah, stay tuned for more episodes. They'll be coming out slowly. I'm just lost for words because I want to talk about this, but there's nothing to talk
I think we pretty much covered it. The movie only is 1 hour, 40 minutes. We talked about it for 40 minutes. So,
yeah, I think that's 39 minutes too long.
Yeah.
Anyway, so if people want to get in touch with us and tell us about their thoughts on Morbius, how do they go about it?
So we're on all platforms at Cognitive Recalibration, or you can email us at cognitiverecalibrationpodcast@gmail.com.
Yes. You can ask us a question on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram. We're on all of those. If you want to support the podcast, you can do so via giving us a review on iTunes or Spotify. That makes us more discoverable on their search engines. So if you search Morbius review, one of our review will be one of the first ones that comes up. Cool. We'll see you in the next episode, which will probably be the Secrets of Dumbledore episode. And stay tuned for more episodes after that. So I hope you're all staying safe, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.